Khomeini's silence. The Ayatollah Khomeini kept silent about the injustices of the Republican Party mullahs. We, the Democratic Front, still hope to win over the country and rule by our own type of Islamic justice. In our minds, we falsely held on to the idea that the Ayatollah Khomeini would stand for the democratic leadership of Dr. Bani Sadr and would not praise the mullahs who thirst for dictatorship. We thought that his silence did not mean agreement with the mullahs, but that he was acting as our patient father who would soon stop their destruction. Our view was strengthened when Khomeini's own son, a cleric living with him, expressed support for Dr. Bani Sadr's leadership by speaking against the Republican Party mullahs. There were also other renowned and influential clerics who were Khomeini supporters and longtime friends who spoke against these mullahs. We had hoped that he would one day break his silence in favor of us. Though Khomeini's silence was strange and unbearable, we had no choice but to wait. We took it as a gesture of Iranian paternalistic culture that encourages children to wait and parents to stand up, break the silence, and say to his rebellious children, "Enough is enough, stop it." Though we were impatient for the arrival of such a moment, we never thought that our cries and criticisms would be ignored. We believed he would eventually break his so-called fatherly silence, and he would stand up for us against the abusive mullahs. If that happened, he would have received much appreciation and praise for helping the well-being of his country. Alas, his silence became an omen of death to us and all those in opposition and a sign of destruction for the whole country. His silence resulted in humiliation, imprisonment, and the death sentence for many of us, including his own son and grandson. His silence was part of a plot that only became clear when it was too late for us to fight our false father. We never suspected that he and his surrounding mullahs would sanction the death of even their own children for the convenience of Islamic authoritarian politics. The Ayatollah Khomeini's deceptive silence sprang from the Islamic doctrine of taqiyya, legitimate deceiving, nurtured under the wings of an evil spirit which was waiting for the right moment to transform Iran into a Sharia-compliant Islamist state. This Sharia transformation would destroy the social and political promises of the revolution and turn it into a bastion of Islamic terrorism against Iranians, Israel, the West, and all infidels. Khomeini was waiting for the right moment to reveal his radical Islamic totalitarianism to aid in the destruction of all groups who hope for freedom. In those moments of silence, Khomeini's surrounding mullahs knew that he was waiting for them to subtly create more division among the democratic voices. They worked to disable the democratic groups in every possible way to make it easier to establish their own united front. They succeeded because no opposition group was able to unite with other opposition groups. The mullahs saw the ground was ready for a takeover and immediately rushed from the shadows of manipulation into the corridors of full power. They captured everything and then marched openly to extinguish the democratic voices. First, they aimed at President Bani Sadr's position in life. As a result, Bani Sadr had no choice but to flee the country. After this, one by one, those in opposition were targeted by the power-seeking mullahs. Some of those in opposition were able to leave the country, but many were unable to escape. They were killed or given life imprisonment or were forced to compromise.